Okay, thanks very much. I'm jumping in for Professor Danica Kragic from KTH, who is the co-director of WASP on external relations. So she would have given you excellent perspective on what WASP is up to, excellent update. So me jumping in, I have a different role in WASP, more of a professor in cybersecurity who's been interacting with WASP. So hopefully I can share some of those experiences and share some of the opportunities that WASP offers that everybody can use. So that's my role here today. So what is WASP? WASP is a large program that involves 5 universities and 3 excellence research groups. So who is part of WASP today? It's Chalmers, KTH, Linköping, Lund, and Umeå. These are the core universities involved in WASP, as well as 3 excellent research groups. So those are Örebro, Uppsala, and Luleå. This group is not static by any means. In fact, Luleå University has been just added. We had a presentation 2 weeks ago at the big WASP event where we got to know more about what this excellence group is doing in Luleå. And that means that if you're not yet part of WASP and would like to become a part of WASP, then essentially talk to university and ask them to approach WASP and possibly join WASP. So there is a way to have a discussion about that with WASP. What's the vision of WASP? It's very much centered around excellence. This is what we heard from Jonas a little bit with SSF, prioritizing excellence and applications to Swedish industry. So WASP is really pushing excellence. And what is explicitly mentioned in the vision is that all this excellence should be good in the long term for the Swedish industry. Therefore, the mission is to build a leading platform for academic research in Sweden that interacts with industry. And the meaning of platform is very broad. This can be research infrastructure, this could be researchers themselves, so any kinds of collaboration possibilities. That's what WASP is interested in supporting. Some numbers, just to show you the scale of this program. So it's 6.2 billion Swedish crowns that WASP is kind of using for sponsoring activities. The goal is to have 600 students graduated within the program, which is also showing the scale, and 80 faculty recruitments. So we're talking about the program with major impact on Swedish research. If you look at some of the goals for the kind of technologies that WASP is enabling, then we see many of the societal important problems. But we also can notice that cybersecurity is very much cross-cutting through all of them. So you see here, transport, healthcare, finance, everywhere, security is absolutely important. So it's great to see this list. That's where security is very important. The goals for artificial intelligence as well. So it's hard to imagine any kind of AI where security is not important. So because the adversary can be anywhere in the ecosystem that uses AI. Many of you have seen the example with stop sign and confusing the car so that it doesn't think it's a stop sign. So this would be a typical example of confusing a classifier. Other examples include poisoning models. Typical example would be you create a bunch of websites and cross-link them to confuse Google so that you divert research queries to your website and profit from that. So that's an example of poisoning Google's model of AI that would drive these search queries. So it keeps popping up everywhere. So cybersecurity is of absolute importance for AI. So we see it popping up everywhere, and indeed this is some of the challenges identified by WASP today in the different clusters of autonomous systems, software, and AI. For example, robotics, which is mentioned here. Essentially, one of the key challenges is to connect systems that are otherwise have been isolated before. So to make kind of robots from different domains to talk to each other. And that immediately triggers cybersecurity challenges. What are the trust levels? How do they authenticate to each other, right? So cybersecurity is crucial for that. You see under the challenges for software, security and safety is mentioned explicitly. So monitoring systems for safety and security is one of the explicit goals identified this year. And for AI, yeah, as I mentioned, adversary can be anywhere. Many of the research done in this area is quite optimistic. They say, okay, security is future work. You've seen it in many papers. And in the security domain, it's the other extreme. All papers are attack papers, right? So like whatever you kind of come up with can be attacked. So there are more questions than answers. We need robust and fair AI, and that's an active area of research. So yeah, I'd like to spend a little bit of time clarifying WASP instruments, because that's where all these opportunities for researchers and industry to be engaged with WASP and get some support. So research program, okay, that's the main priority that kind of identifies interesting areas. Graduate school, so it's a very ambitious instrument that has this goal of having 600 students being graduated. I should say that 150 of those students are actually industrial PhD students, which makes a very interesting kind of possibility for industry to be involved in research. The setup is excellent for industry. The idea is that a graduate student would be employed by industry, but actually it's WASP who's covering the salary of the industrial student, and the student will be enrolled in a university. So that's a great way to kind of to promote collaboration. Another successful instrument is recruitment. So it's very hard to get great people to come to Sweden. We compete internationally. How do we get excellence here? Well, that's where WASP comes in with substantial packages. So essentially, at junior level, WASP would offer a package, a PhD student or a postdoc, which makes very attractive to apply and come to our university. So this is an excellent instrument. We've recruited many different people, and very happy with this. Talking about collaboration with industry, Research Arena is an excellent instrument. So essentially, it's a field where industry and research can collaborate and perform testing and experiments. The arenas are divided in different categories. For example, there's an arena for robotics, arena for software, for various types of domains. And in fact, they're quite impressive. So many of these arenas, they're drones you can use, there are boats, you can install all kinds of equipment you can experiment with. So there's a kind of quite amazing infrastructure that is available. And it's very inclusive, so a lot of industrial players in Sweden are part of these arenas. Another instrument is internationalization. Maybe also, that's where many of the less known kind of opportunities are, but it's absolutely top-notch. WASP has agreements with some top universities that allow hosting Sweden's researchers in those universities for free for those universities. Okay, so let's say somebody wants to do a postdoc at Berkeley or Stanford, then WASP might have possibility of providing support for a postdoc to go and enjoy this kind of postdoc and then come back to Sweden possibly. So many interesting possibilities there. Last instrument is communication events and networking. So there was a big WASP event 2 weeks ago, for example. It was quite substantial. There are all kinds of events, both for working groups, popularization of science, outreach to industry. So a lot of things going on there. For example, what's coming up now, on 1st of June, we'll have a WASP for All event here in the beautiful city of Stockholm, where we have essentially WASP focusing on cybersecurity. So this is very related to this event, with kind of more of an idea of public outreach, companies and public. So please stay tuned. Our program will be coming up in the spring. So from what we have today at WASP, so I mentioned some of the goals with, for example, 600 students being recruited. So actually, already 409 students are already in the system. So WASP has come a long way towards those goals. So that's excellent. Yeah, so you see lots of professors already in place. I see many of you Here, some of you are in the audience, WASP professors. One of the excellent examples is, for example, software activities at KTH. So thanks to WASP, there's a critical mass that is supported. So it's really amazing to see this happening. Yeah, 80 companies and agencies engaged in WASP. That's another great number. And I'd like to focus a little bit on the nests. So you see here mentioned 9 nests. Okay, what is a nest? So essentially, it's an excellent initiative which allows researchers to set up larger projects and then kind of, with some inter-university collaborations. So we already have 9 nests in place. This was quite fresh. They started in April last year. And in fact, one of the nests is on cybersecurity. So let me tell you more about this nest because I happen to be coordinating this nest. This nest is about automated and autonomous cybersecurity for IoT. So that's the goal of this project. The idea with IoT is that the systems are fragmented, coming from different vendors, operating on different standards. So who is really in control, right? This is one of the key issues there. For users, there are various automation platforms that help users control this. So you see here in this slide the example of user, let's say, send me a map where I parked my car. So it's an automation that connects the car with some email services, or automatically back up all my photos on Dropbox. That's another automation that you might have. So there are all these automation platforms that enable this. However, this kind of automation platforms, they become a person in the middle. So they get access to all the users' car location, pictures, and everything, just for the sake of this automation. That's where the project comes in, so called CyberSecet, where we have the goal of decentralizing these kind of automation platforms, making sure that we can govern permissions from users in a usable way. We can come up with secure aggregation possibilities, so we can apply machine learning techniques in a federated way. So talking about all those AI problems with and security. So the unique thing with this project is combination of different actors. So this really allows us to kind of target ambitious goals. And we really can push all the way from theory to practice. So that's what WASP likes a lot. So also like SSF, as Jonas mentioned. So it's great to see this theme in many places. So on KTH side, we have Mossad Balou, who's also here in the audience, representing expertise in solid techniques, formal methods, programming languages for security. At Chalmers, so we work a lot on applying theory to practice. So we contribute with expertise on software, web. And we have Simone Fischer-Hübner, who is privacy expert #1 in Sweden, contributing with privacy and ACI expertise. And finally, we have Vincent Stora, who's contributing on the big data expertise in AI and differential privacy. So very nicely complementing the consortium. So we have Chalmers, KTH, and Umeå. And one of the practical applications that we'll use in the demonstration is building a CyberSecet dashboard for secure data aggregation, where we have Ericsson, ICA, and City of Stockholm contributing with use cases, and that's where we hope to get these use cases supported by the project. So that's an example of a nest in cybersecurity. Hopefully, we'll have a few more of those, and that comes back to the initiative of WASP of 180 million until 2031. So yeah, that's a very ambitious goal. At the moment, it's quite early in the stages, so it's actually good to mention it in this group, because we have some input on how to best distribute these resources, and you're very welcome to reach out to WASP and give your ideas. So far, they've done bibliometric analysis, essentially who is who in Sweden, what's going on, what are the areas. And essentially what we'll see is a combination of recruitments, those assistant professor, associate professor positions, some connection to arenas, so for testing security, and nests. So this is what we mean by large-scale projects here. So hopefully more of nests that connect to some of the existing WASP activities. So the takeaway from this talk, lots of things happen with security at WASP. Stay tuned. The calls will be coming out soon, so please apply and enjoy the benefit of collaborating with WASP. Thank you very much.
Thank you.